What's up guys, welcome to another speed build. Today we are over in Oasis Springs and I am building a Mediterranean style house for 3 different generations, and this is actually the very first 3-generational house I've done that's like in Oasis Springs and it's Mediterranean style, and I actually think it turned out very cute and I hope you guys do as well. Of course, if you do enjoy this video in any way, then please leave a like on there and also subscribe if you have not already. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys that takes the time to watch my videos and also interact with me down in the comments below. I look forward to reading your comments every single day, so yeah, just thank you all so much. Now let's go ahead and get into today's build a little bit. So like I was saying, this is a Mediterranean style house for 3 different generations. So we have a mom and a dad that lives here along with 2 grandparents, 1 or 2 grandparents, whichever you prefer. And then we have a child that lives here as well as an infant. And those are the age groups I chose to furnish this house for. But of course, if you do decide to download this off of my gallery, then you would be able to delete all of the furniture and refurnish it for the family you are currently playing. No problem. It doesn't even have to be 3 different generations. It could be a family, like there's a couple of parents that has a bunch of kids, or just, you know, a single sim could even live here. It's just a very big house for a single sim. But we will talk more about the inside once I start furnishing the inside. Right now I am currently working on the outside and trying to design the outside how I would like to design it. This is actually not the very first time I am doing a Mediterranean style house that has like brown accents. I've done this quite a bit before, but it's been a while since I've done this. I typically prefer to do Mediterranean style houses that have the white accents instead of the brown, but I don't know, there was something about the brown this time that I just really wanted to stick with. And I'm so happy that I decided to stick with it because the inside and the outside turned out so good in this build, and I stuck with the brown on the inside as well, which is not like me at all. I always do a light interior with white accents or just like a really light beige, really light gray, maybe even light blue or light green. But this interior is completely different. It is very dark on the inside, but in a good way, to be honest. And that's coming from someone that is not a big fan of dark interiors. Really, I don't like dark exteriors either. There's something about dark accents that just makes it look a little bit smaller than it really is. But this is such a big house that it could have, you know, used being a little bit smaller. We have some wiggle room with that, so the dark accents really look good in this house, and I'm really happy with the way that this house turned out. But as far as the exterior features go, I decided to give this house a garage, and well, it's a garage on the outside. It is not a garage on the inside. It is actually furnished for the 2 grandparents that live here, and I won't get too deep into what the grandparents' storyline is until we get over into their room. But other than the garage, I also have like a curved sidewalk heading up to the front door. I don't know why I love doing curved sidewalks heading to the front door so much, but I think it adds like an extra detail and it just looks so nice. And of course I had to use that half circular, half oval window that I absolutely love so much. I have been using it so often lately and I just can't bring myself to stop. I don't know why. I just love that rounded window like that. And as of right now, I have the windows from cats and dogs as far as like the rest of the windows go. But that does end up changing. I end up changing it to the seasons windows. And the reason why I did that is because the seasons windows have like black panels inside of the window, if that makes sense. And so the extra like black detail really looked good with the interior of this build. So that is ultimately why I decided to change from the cats and dogs windows over to the seasons windows, and I was very happy that I did. And I also have some base game windows under that half circular window, and that also ends up changing to the seasons windows. We are now over into the backyard, and I'm trying to lay out how exactly I want the backyard to look. and I knew I wanted to do something different with the pool. I am so tired of doing rectangular pools, square pools, round oval pools that, it's just a basic like oval. I wanted to do something different. I really wanted to do like a bean shaped pool, but as you can see, I had to settle with something else. I don't really know what you call that shape. It's almost like two ovals put together, but I thought it looked pretty cool. I thought it looked really good. And so I decided to keep it that way. And I also added like a waterfall on the corner of it. And I had plenty of space on both corners of the pool. I mean, technically there's 4 corners, but you guys know what I mean. 2 of the corners have like really big open spots. So that was perfect to put a table and chairs, like an umbrella table, and then on the other side I put some lounge chairs. And so that little patio is such a good area to have pool parties, family barbecues, family reunions if you have the growing together pack, or any party that you really want. That looks like such a good area to have the party. And I really enjoy how I have the back porch kind of open, and then I have a large staircase heading down to the pool area. I think that looks so good, and I raised it up on a couple of platforms. So the pool's on like an actual foundation along with the rest of the house, but then the actual like porch area that I have right outside of this sliding glass back door, I have raised up on a platform. You will notice in this build, I used the platforms pretty heavily, and I just love the platforms. I don't know why I love them so much, but it adds so much detail to a floor plan, and it makes it easier to make open floor plans, by the way. Like, you can just use the platforms to kind of like section off a particular room, like the living room, how I just did. That big room on the far left side of the house in the back with that big old open window, that is where I put the living room. That window does change. I end up making it part of one of the season's windows. I don't remember exactly which one, but it's still very open like how it is now, and so it doesn't change too much. Just, changes from the cats and dogs one over to the seasons one. And this room is actually the kitchen, and then when you go down the stairs, that is where the dining room is, and then the foyer, where you first walk in, is right off of the dining room. And I really enjoy this floor plan. I think it is very, I don't know, it's very flowy. It flows very nicely from room to room. And then I have the parents' main bedroom on the other side of the dining room, right out of the living room on the left side there. And then on the right side where the garage is, like I was saying, that is where the grandparents' room is. And yeah, so that kitchen turned out so good. I don't want to toot my own horn, but at the same time I am tooting it because I really wanted to do something different than I normally do, and this is very different. Not only does it have like the very dark brown accents and the brown cabinets and all of that, but just the layout of the cabinets and the island, how I have it kind of like L-shaped like that, is very different. I don't usually do that like ever. And then I have stools on the islands, of course, and then I have an oven, like a stovetop, not an oven, but the stovetop on the island. And I kind of figured that's where, obviously mom or dad, grandma or grandpa, they cook dinner there and they can entertain guests, or maybe their kids are sitting there doing their homework or whatever it may be. They could socialize as they are cooking. That seems like such a dream to me. Like, I would love to have an island that has a stovetop on it. I've just always wanted that. If not a stovetop, then at least a sink, so I could be there washing dishes while talking to whoever's there, whether it's my fiance, a friend, my sister, my mom, whoever's there that I can, talk their ear off. I would love to do that while I'm sitting there washing dishes. I need some sort of entertainment while I'm washing dishes. Right now I have to resort to looking outside of my back window, which is better than nothing. Okay, I don't want to complain, because there's some people that don't have windows above their kitchen sinks, and then they also don't have their kitchen sinks on an island. Basically, their kitchen sink is up against a wall and they have no view or nothing. So I feel very, very sad for you guys. I'm so sorry. That must be so boring. You probably just, play music or listen to a podcast, something. You need something to take your mind off of just sitting there and doing the monotonous chore of washing dishes. Do any of you guys actually enjoy washing dishes? Because I'm pretty curious. I don't think I've ever met anyone that genuinely liked it. There might be people that, they don't hate it. And I don't hate it. That's like one chore that I prefer to do. I prefer to do that over laundry any day. My fiance's chore is laundry, mine is dishes, and that's okay with me. That's okay with him. So, yeah. But anyways, since this is a 3-generational house, I really wanted the driveway to mimic that. And so I filled it up with a bunch of different cars. I think I ended up adding a 4th car just because adding 3 looked so off. But yeah, I just really wanted to give it that look of a full house. And by doing that, I thought it was a really good idea to add multiple cars in the driveway, and your sim is still able to walk around that car, but it is very, very jam-packed. I don't know how they got those cars so close without hitting one another, but they did somehow. And talking about cars in The Sims just always makes me wish we had them here in The Sims 4. I miss cars so much. I love the way that The Sims 2 did cars. I mean, obviously I love the way that Sims 3 did cars, but I really, really love the way that The Sims 2 did them because they obviously didn't have an open world in The Sims 2, just like here in The Sims 4. And your sim just, it showed them getting into the car. You guys know this. I've said it multiple times, but I'm going to say it one more time. It's fine. Your sim literally got in the car. They literally shut the door behind them. They literally backed up into the road, and then they drove off. And once they got to the corner of their lot, they pretty much, the car disappeared and you went into a loading screen. Like, I feel like they totally could do that here in The Sims 4, and I really hope it's on their list of stuff to do. You would think it is. The fact that The Sims 4 is here to stay as far as the future can see, and they have many packs on their radar and stuff that they plan on doing. You would think that cars is probably on the top of the list. I really hope so. I mean, I'm sure they know by now that that's like the number one thing that we all want at this point. Like, we have our infants that are detached from the bassinets. We have horses. We've had seasons, luckily. We've had cats and dogs. We now have the for rent where you can make your own apartments. We have a lot of good packs, and it's getting to the point where all of the mainstream packs that are in every single Sims games are pretty much done already. The only thing that we don't have are functional cars, and so I really hope that that's on their radar to do, because that is one thing that I'm so missing in The Sims 4. I feel like once cars are added, Sims 4 is going to feel more complete, in my opinion. And it's only up from there. I would love to see like a Back to the Future, not Back to the Future, but like, some sort of like futuristic pack, or even better, like a futuristic and past pack where you could go to the future as well as you can go to the past. I don't know exactly how they would do that, but that seems like it would be such a good pack. But honestly, I would prefer cars first. But anyways, you know me, I could be on the subject of cars all day long and just talk about that this whole video. So without me doing that, let's go ahead and get back into our build. So I am getting the landscaping down, and the landscaping is very much like I typically do. I have the hedgerow bushes, which are my all-time favorite bushes in the game, and I used the ones without the fairy lights on them, and I also used hydrangeas. I used the white hydrangeas. I thought they looked really, really good with the dark features of the house. And then as far as like the planter boxes go on the windows, right now I have a red, but I do end up changing that to white so that it matches the white hydrangeas, and it makes the house look so much better. And then I have a tree right outside by the mailbox, and I don't know why I love to put trees above the mailbox and above the driveway like I do, but I feel like it makes it look a little bit more realistic for some reason. And then I also have like I don't know what you call those trees, evergreen trees, you know, those long skinny trees right on each corner of the house just to accent the corners a little bit. And I think those trees look so good in Oasis Springs. Oh, and I also put those ferns in between the hydrangeas just to add like some other sort of landscaping to give it a little bit more detail, and it's not just the same plant around the whole lot. And so that's something that I really love to do, is having those hydrangeas mixed with the ferns. I think those two go really, really good together, especially here in Oasis Springs, but honestly that's my go-to anywhere, whether it's Willow Creek, Newcrest, Oasis Springs, any of the PAX worlds. It doesn't matter. That is my go-to because it looks good every single time. But we are currently back into the kitchen, and I am placing different appliances that I want here in the kitchen. I do have a microwave, and of course I chose the brown swatch so that it matches the rest of the kitchen. And then I have a dish rack right next to the sink, and then I also put like a soap pump next to the sink as well. I love to do that. It adds a realistic touch, and you guys know I'm all about being realistic. And while I'm looking at it, I also added those burglar alarms by each of the exterior doors, and there are 3 exterior doors in this build. So there's the front door, there's this back sliding glass door, and then the grandparents' room have their own exit to the back door as well. I don't know why I did that. It just looked good, okay? That's really why I did it. I really wanted that to be like a mother-in-law suite sort of thing. They don't have their own kitchen in there, but I figured they could use this kitchen in the main part of the house. And they don't have their own bathroom necessarily, but I figured that their bathroom would be the one right next to the living room right there. So there's the master bedroom, there's the master bathroom, and then right next to that, I figured was their guest bathroom as well as the grandparents' bathroom. And then all of the kids' bathroom is upstairs. And the upstairs bathroom is kind of interesting, okay? I don't know, it's not my best bathroom. It is a very funky shape. It's like very, very long and skinny, and I had to figure out how to lay it out. I'll talk to you guys more about it once we get up there so that you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But something else that's different about this kitchen is that I actually put the fridge on the other side of the kitchen. So right by the back door, I put the fridge. That's kind of like the best place I could find for it. And I guess now that I'm looking, I was gonna put the stove on the island, but I ended up moving the fridge, and I put a stove oven combination where the fridge used to be. I totally forgot that I did that. It's been a few weeks since I've actually built this build. I have been waiting to do the voiceover, and I got sick last week, and then I had to, take my dog to the appointment. Yesterday, talking about my dog, yesterday my dog actually had to get stitches, unfortunately. That was fun. I actually stayed up until like 3 o'clock in the morning because I got the call to pick her up at like 12:30 a.m. I dropped her off at like 4, stayed there till 7. They finally told me I could go home because it's gonna be a while. And so yeah, yesterday was very, very interesting and very long. My dog is okay though. What ended up happening is my neighbors, they love to let their dog off leash and roam around the neighborhood, even though he's kind of a nuisance. He chases people down the street, and he's always fighting with my dogs, and my dogs are in their fence, they're in their house, and he comes in my yard, and messes with my dog. So it's really not their dog's fault because he's a dog, you know, he's doing what dogs do. But it's kind of like my neighbors are just very inconsiderate about it and they don't care. And here where I live, in Hillsborough County, Florida, we have a leash law where you always have to have your dogs constrained because it's very, very dangerous. A kid could be walking down the street, and if there's a loose dog, they can get attacked. So there's many reasons why dogs should be on leashes and with their owners 24/7. Like, there should never be a dog just roaming around the street by themselves. I don't care how trained you think your dog is. Dogs have a mind of their own, okay? And anything can happen, and it's not worth hurting somebody else or somebody else's dog. So yeah, I have very strong opinions on that, and I am a very big dog person, okay? And that's why I said it's not the dog's fault. The dog is a dog. It is always the human's fault. And if you're not a responsible dog owner, you probably shouldn't have a dog. And another thing is that, like, wouldn't you think they would be worried about their dog getting hit by a car? That would be like my number one concern, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I took my dog to the vet, got a very large vet bill. But at least my dog's okay. She just got scratched in the process of my dogs and that other dog kind of like fighting through our chain link fence. And it was a very deep cut, and come to find out, she actually had like a chunk of her skin missing. So very glad that I ended up taking her to the vet. It was very scary to see it, I'm not gonna lie, but she is okay. I mean, it's just on her side, like right behind her arm, so she's not hurt whatsoever. She probably doesn't even know it's there, other than the fact that it's starting to itch, I think, and she's trying to lick it. But she has a cone on, so obviously she can't. But yeah, anyways, I have the living room pretty much put together. I do change the living room a little bit. I changed like the couch color and stuff, and I changed the rug too, I believe, as well as the curtains in the background, but it pretty much stays how it's laid out. Is how it stays. And then I have a computer desk in there with a computer on there, and then I have like these bookcases in that hallway, and I kind of divided the hallway up with spandrels just to get, you know, just to show that there's, you know, that hallway, and then there's the divide where the living room is, just to have that divide there, you know. So it's technically an open floor plan, but there's enough divide there to show that it's obviously a different room, if that makes sense. And those bookcases I absolutely love. I believe they came from the Life and Death, or did it come from the newest pack that is Businesses and Hobbies? I can't 100% remember. We've had so many new packs in the last couple years that all of the stuff's kind of like combining together, and I can't remember what's from what. But I also have in this dining room that like tea china cabinet that's from Snowy Escape. I have been dying to use that in a build for like years now, but I just can never get it to look good in a particular build. But this build, since it's so like dark, that dark china cabinet looks so good, and I love the way that like the tea cups are in that china cabinet. I just love the way that china cabinet looks, and I have loved it since the day it came out in Snowy Escape. And I've actually only used it like a handful of times. Like, I think like one other time, maybe two other times when Snowy Escape first came out. Maybe a little bit more than that. Pretty much whenever I build in Mount Komorebi is when I am able to use that china cabinet. But I said, you know what? It doesn't have to be tied down to Snowy Escape. It doesn't have to be tied down to Mount Komorebi. I could use it in whatever build I want. And I thought it looked so good in this build, so I ended up keeping it. And something else that I ended up pulling out and using is that wall phone. Yeah, I love that thing. I know it's not functional, but I can pretend in my mind that it is. And I really wish that they didn't take the easy route and make it non-functional. I really wish that they put the extra effort in and made it functional. I mean, how hard could that be? You know, we already have all of the functions for the cell phone, and I mean, you really would only have to make the animation picking up the phone off the wall. I feel like that'd be super easy. And then the same for the one that's, you know, for surfaces like tabletops. But yeah, I guess decoration's better than nothing, but is it really nostalgic if you can't use it? I really don't think so. But we are about to do the bathroom that's just off the living room here, but before I do, I needed to add some decorations on this coffee table, and I decided to go with my go-to and do the magazines, and I believe that's a new magazine from one of the new kits, like the Don Lothario basement kit, basement, whatever that one is, you know, the one that's based off of Don Lothario. That is where that magazine is from, and it has a bunch of different swatches. I love that magazine though, and honestly I like that pack a lot more than I thought I would. There's a lot of stuff that you can use in a lot of different things other than just like a basement, you know, or a man cave. I think that's what it's based off of. But yeah, one thing that came in that kit that I have not used yet for some reason is the TV. It comes with like a giant TV. Like, it's like the biggest TV in the game, I think, now. And it actually looks really nice. It's just so big that I don't know what to do with it. I need to build like a mansion, like a modern mansion. It would look so good in that. So yeah, maybe that's on my go-to list. But other than the magazine, I did put a plant on top of the magazine, and I put a candle, and then I put a remote. I've been doing that a lot lately in living rooms for the coffee table. I don't know why. I just think it looks really realistic, and it looks really good. And I love putting remotes by all of the TVs, especially in the living rooms. It just adds that realistic touch and makes it feel like home, you know? It makes it feel like very homey on the inside. But we actually have already finished the bathroom next to the living room. That is the guest bathroom / grandma and grandpa's bathroom. I do add some extra stuff on the wall that's kind of blank on the opposite side, but it's very, you know, typical. I have a shower. It's the standalone shower, but I did put a divider up. That divider is from Discover University, and then I have a toilet, and then I have a sink. And yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I did use a carpet from one of the kits for the toilet, like that toilet carpet rug. I love that they added that. And now I am actually adding a stool with a bottle of nectar as well as a glass of wine. I figured that is where grandma loves to spend her time, okay? Grandma is a wine grandma, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? Grandma knows how to have a good time, and she knows how to relax, and the ultimate relaxation is just hanging out in her shower, doing her self-care, and drinking some nectar, okay? That is what grandma likes to do. And then that is grandma's robe right there next to it. And right now I'm adding like a cabinet, but I did have to remove that because my sim could not get inside of the door because of the way that it's shaped. But I really enjoyed the way that it was shaped. It looked good in the bathroom, and it also looked good in the living room. It added like extra definition, and it looked really good. But other than that, it all stayed the same in there. And I actually added a platform where the shower is. It's up, you know, you walk up the platform to get to the shower. It kind of gave it that extra divide. That divide that I was talking about from the living room to the hallway, the same thing goes for the main part of the bathroom to the shower. It just made it look obvious that's where the shower is, you know? And then I also got the master bathroom done, so that's very basic too. Like, it has the standalone shower. I put a couple of snowy escape dividers there next to the shower, and then it has the sink with a mirror above the sink, and I actually chose the mirror from Lovestruck that has pictures on the frame, and I think that looks so cute. I figured that's like pictures from mom and dad when they were dating before they got married, maybe after they got married as well too, but I just thought that was kind of a cute touch. And then I have mom and dad's robes there right next to the shower, and then I have the toilet. And that is that. That is the master bathroom. Nothing special, but you know, it's not very basic either. I mean, it is basic, but it's cute basic. But we are over into the master bedroom now, and I absolutely love how there's so many windows in this bedroom. Like, it makes it look so bright and open in here, which is needed since it's so dark on the inside. But like I was saying, it looks good this dark, okay? It looks like it was made to be like this, which it was. But and then I'm using my favorite curtains in the game in that bedroom, and that is from like the Luke's luxury Luke's kit. You know the one. Those curtains are from that kit, and it also comes with a separate like curtain rod, curtain bar up there, and it's like made of wood, and then you can put that in between the curtains to make it as large or as small as you want it. And I love that. I hope they do that with all future curtains, to be honest, because it makes it so much more flexible. But yeah, something else that I did in the master bedroom, I added those picture frames on top of the dresser, and there is one that has like an infant, and then there's one that has a newborn baby, and I figured that those were the parents' kids, you know. That is the kids that live in this house. That is the infant, and that is the baby of the parents, and I thought that was super cute. And then I put a makeup bag right next to it. I figured that was mom's makeup bag. I mean, it could be dad's, but I was thinking it was mom's, you know. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for the bedroom. It's really not special at all, but it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I also put a chair right next to the dresser as well. And I also put like a little it was either a knitting or a cross stitch box. I can't remember which one I did. But one of those. I put that there, and that's pretty much it for, oh, and I also put a little mirror in the corner as well. Now we are officially done with the master bedroom, and like I said, you know, it's not my best, but it's not my worst either. I feel like it looks like a typical bedroom, which is kind of what I was going for. That is what I really like to do in family builds. I like to try and make it look as realistic as possible, but cute at the same time, you know, so yeah, that's kind of my thing. But we are over into the foyer now, and I actually added a fish tank in here, and that is something that I don't do ever. Like, I don't remember the last time I used like a big fish tank. Like, I will always do little fish bowls, but very rarely will I do a big tank. And so it was super fun to do it here in this build, and I thought it fit very good. It fit like perfectly in that spot right there. It might be a little bit like big, but you know, it looks good though. And I have wanted to use like the bigger fish tank for like so long now, but I could never get it to look good, so I'm happy that I finally decided to do it. Even though it's a little bit in the way of the hallway, it's still fine. Your sim can walk around it. There's enough room there, and that's all that matters. I am also putting a couple of pet bowls down. I was thinking a dog lived here. I did put that bone-shaped greeting mat outside of the front door. I just love that mat for some reason. I don't know why, but I do. And so since I used that, I figured, you know, this is probably a home where there is at least one dog or cat, but it's a bone, so probably a dog. And so yeah, I put a couple of pet bowls there. You could totally choose between a dog and a cat though. I don't think I added a litter box, so if you want a cat, that's the only thing you would need. I did actually place a toy bin outside, so I am pretty sure dogs and cats both can use that. And so yeah, I mean, really, if you want a dog, or I mean, if you want a cat, totally just add a litter box. That's all that you would need. If I were you though, and if you wanted a cat and not a dog, I would change the front doormat too, just to make it make more sense. Make it like a cat version. Like, I think there's one that's like shaped like a fish. I feel like that's more for cats, right? But yeah, anyways, we are over into the grandparents' room now, and Grandma and Grandpa, they have some hobbies, okay? And their hobbies consist of pottery. That is what Grandma loves to do. And Grandpa is a handyman. He really loves to build things with his hands. And so I put a woodworking bench in here. And yeah, and I'm just trying to fill it up with different decorations. Like I put that wall decor piece above the pottery. I'm pretty sure that's something you can make from the pottery machine, if I'm not mistaken, as well as these like the wall hung candles that I'm placing all throughout the house. I figured that's what Grandma made, and so they love to put the items that Grandma makes around the house. And Grandpa as well. I figured a lot of like the wood pieces that you see, maybe even that dining table Grandpa made. Is that, really functional in The Sims? Can you actually make a dining table with glass in the center like that one from Seasons? No, you cannot. I'm pretty sure there's one that you can make, but it's really just wooden. Don't take my word for that, because I'm not one that typically has my Sims do the woodworking bench, but I'm pretty sure that there is a dining table as well as chairs. I think a toilet too. Like, isn't there a toilet and you can fail at it, so the toilet can be like really, really like cheap looking? Oh, here's that raccoon with that mystery thing it's holding. I mentioned this a couple of videos ago when businesses and hobbies first came out. I thought that raccoon was so cute, but I thought it was holding something weird, something that a raccoon should not be holding. And I did not know what it was, but then I was looking at it as I placed it on the kitchen counter, and I'm like, oh, I totally know what that is now. It's a vase. And then I went in game and like I tried it out, because there's something else that you can put a flower in, and it is 100% a vase. So yeah. I'm just I don't know. I'm not the brightest sometimes. But you have to admit, that looked weird, okay? It looked like he was smoking. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about that. But since there is a child that lives here, I wanted to add something in the yard for the child, and I ended up doing the swing set. I almost did the monkey bars, but I always do the monkey bars, so I decided to be a little bit different and did the swing set. And I was kind of thinking that Grandpa made that swing set because it's wooden, so it makes sense. And I also am pulling out a bunch of fairy lights to place around the pool, and I also grabbed one out of the businesses and hobbies debug menu, and I placed it in that tree in the backyard, and I thought that looked so cute. And I would love to have a house with a pool that looked like this. There's something about adding fairy lights around a pool that looks so good. I don't know why I love it so much, but I do. And then with it lit up at night, it brightens it up so much. It looks so good. And if you can hear my cat in the background, my apologies. Sometimes he likes to talk, and that's what he's doing. He's probably yelling at me, telling me to give him attention, but he'll be okay for a little bit. I give him attention all the time. He's just an attention hog, as well as most animals are. All of my animals are. I have 3 dogs, they're all boxers, and then I have 2 cats. I'm probably crazy for that, but I love them all. And yeah, they're wild. That's all I gotta say. I mean, yeah. I told you the story about having to give my one dog stitches yesterday, so you can only imagine how crazy they can get. Boxers are actually known for being very energetic, very hyper, but they are such good, loyal dogs, and they are wonderful for kids. Like, if you have kids and you're worried about a dog and you want a family dog, and you don't want the typical labs are awesome, but I am such a boxer person, so I cannot recommend boxers enough for families. Like, they are so good for kids. Like, look up videos, guys, and you'll see how good they are with kids. They are very, very protective of their family and their owners, and that is a good thing. That is a very, very good thing. They're very good with strangers too, but let someone try and mess with someone they love, and you'll see, you'll see how much they stick up for their owners. But on another note, we are now upstairs and I am doing the child's bedroom. Like I said, there's 2 children that live here. I don't know if I did say that or not, but if I didn't, there's 2 children that live here. One is a child and one is an infant. And this child's room, I really wanted to do something different than I normally do. I always tend to do like pink or blue depending on the gender that I'm doing the room for. So yeah, I want to do something different. I came across this bed and I'm pretty sure it's from Snowy Escape, and it went so well with that curtain swatch, and like they match perfectly. The yellow and the purple, those are colors you do not see often together, with the pink in there. But you know, it was just too good not to do, and since I wanted to do something different, I was like, you know, why not? Is it like a room for everybody? Probably not, but I think it's so cute for a child and looks so much like a child's room. And that's really the goal I was going after. I really wanted it to look like a more realistic child's room and not like a picture perfect child's room. I feel like no room that is for a child is picture perfect. Like, there is no way. Typically they like really colorful rooms, they have stuff everywhere. I ended up putting a hamster cage in here. I figured, you know, this is, you know, a house that really loves animals, and so this child, they wanted an animal of their own, and the only thing their parents would allow was that hamster. I really wish the Sims team would put like a turtle cage in here as well. I feel like that's so totally something that they could do. I feel like that'd be kind of easy. But anyways, yeah, I did put a hamster in here, and I'm just trying to place different clutter pieces that looks like it would be for a child's room. And as far as the rugs go, I chose that one from Comfy Gamer Kit, and it's pink, and I really love that rug. That's like my favorite rug now. And then I chose that circular like fuzzy rug from high school years, and I chose the purple swatch. I love that swatch anyways, but it went perfectly in this room. And I'm placing different lights above on the close to the ceiling. And yeah, oh, and I also placed that penguin TV in here. I love that penguin TV for a kid's room or even a teen's room. And then I placed a creativity table in there. I figured this child is very, very creative. That room screams creativity to me. And so I thought it made sense to put a creativity table in there. And then I placed like a little makeup tray right by the mirror. It might cause the mirror to not be functional, but there's so many mirrors in the game that I really don't think it matters. There's so many mirrors in all of the other rooms, like the bathrooms and stuff. It's not a big deal. It really was just for decoration. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for the kids' room. Oh, I did actually cut out the bathroom, and I also cut out the hallway that I did right there. I ended up putting a computer desk there, and I made it like L-shaped. I put two desks together to make it L-shaped, and I figured that is where one of the parents does their job. They kind of work from home half the time, and that is where they do their work. They have no other room to have a computer table, so they made that little loft space their little office. And I love doing that with the tables, by the way, making it like L-shaped. I absolutely love that. I don't know why. I feel like it just makes it detailed. I don't know. It makes it fill up a space a lot more too, so it's very handy in that regard. And as far as that bathroom went, it's very basic, like I was saying. I tried my best to fill it up with as much as I could without it being overly jam-packed, but also without it being too bare, and I think I did a pretty good job. I actually used that bathroom hutch from Cats and Dogs, I think, and it takes up a big amount of room, so yeah, that's always a plus. And I put a shower and tub combination in there. Well, it's not together, but it's in the same area. I kind of did what I did downstairs, and I put the shower and the tub up on a platform, and then the shower's like next to the tub. And then as far as the infant's room goes, very, very basic, very, you know, just, it's an infant's room. I did place a little like that wall measuring thing where people measure their kids' height. I did put that right by the door. I love to add that in my infant or toddler's room, or even the child's room. But I thought it's super cute to kind of portray that the parents are keeping track of the kids' growth. and then I placed a little grabby mat thing, and that's about it. I kept it green themed. I just didn't want to do pink or blue. Like I said, when I was doing the kids room, I really wanted to make the infants room different than I normally do as well. But that is it for the interior. We have completely finished the interior furnishings, and I think it all turned out so good, and I hope you guys agree. Right now we are finishing up the outside area right by the pool, and I pulled out that grill that is from that Desert Luke's kit. The same one that my favorite curtains are from, that is where that grill is from. So I pulled that out, I placed a little side table next to it, and I placed down some like grill utensils as well as some barbecue sauces. I felt like that was pretty realistic to do. I don't know why I love to do that, but I do. And that is it for the pool area. As far as this little like porch area, I placed grandma's pottery kiln there because that is the only place I could find. It's not ideal. She'll have to walk over to actually put her pottery pieces in there, but it is what it is. And then I'm also placing some benches with a little like side table as a coffee table, and then I put a citronella candle on top of that. And I am placing some wall hanging, like sailing wall hanging plants. I love those. Those are from Nifty Knitting. And yeah, I mean, this is pretty much it. Doesn't the backyard look so good lit up at night, and the little fountain going into the pool? I think it looks so pretty, and I absolutely love the way that this house turned out. The last thing we are going to do is the terrain paint, and I did very light terrain paint compared to what I usually do. I usually like go all out with the terrain paint, and I do like a couple different layers of different swatches of terrain paint, but I wanted to keep it relatively simple this time around, and so I think I only did 1, maybe 2 layers. And here I am finally adding that 4th car. The more I looked at it with only having 3, the more I was like, you know what, that don't look right. I was thinking 3 because mom and dad could both have their own cars, and then grandma and grandpa shared one, but you know what? Everyone here has their own car. Mom's got one, dad's got one, grandma's got one, grandpa's got one, and so they're all there squeezed into the driveway, and I really like the thought of that. I don't know why, but I do. But yeah, anyways guys, yeah, like I said, the only thing we have left is the terrain paint. And so I will leave you guys to watch the rest of this video on your own. There's like a minute left, so I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Of course, if you did, then please be sure to leave a like on this video so that I know you enjoyed it, and I will be trying to do more Oasis Springs builds as well as more 3 generational builds. And be sure to subscribe if you have not already. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys, and I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next one very soon. Bye guys!